software testing life cycle. Now, software testing life cycle is the complete process. It's a process, right? It's a concept. There's nothing like the type of testing this is. No, it's a complete process, an end-to-end process where from the beginning, that is from the requirement gathering to the production, the way you follow each and every step, right, varies in different life cycle. Now, software testing life cycle as such, you don't have a specific software testing life cycle. Software testing life cycle is an integrated portion of software development life cycle. It's an integrated software development life cycle is software testing life cycle is an integrated portion of the software development life cycle. So we are going to see what is software development life cycle, and in software development life cycle we are going to see how our test life cycle is going to change based on each and every every different type of life cycle that we are going to see in software. So in this program, we are going to see software testing life cycle. We are going to see the software, which actually development life cycle, software development methodology called waterfall model. Then we are going to see spiral model. I have taken out spiral model, so we are not going to see spiral model in this curriculum. I have revamped the program. So we are going to see V model and then iterative model, and then we are going to see agile model, agile development, and in agile development we are going to see Scrum model. Right? This in agile we have multiple models. In that, Scrum is a very famous model that has been followed. So we are going to see in detail what is Scrum. So let's see in each and everything in detail. Now, software testing life cycle. What is the definition of software testing life cycle? Software testing life cycle refers to a testing process. As I told you, this is a process, right, which has specific steps to be executed in a defined sequence to ensure that the quality goals have been met. So this is the key aspect there. Software testing life cycle refers to a testing process which has specific steps to be executed. So depending upon the model, say example waterfall model, V model, iterative model, agile model, everything, each and every sequence, the way it is done is different compared to, say if you compare waterfall model with V model, the way it is done, the sequence is different compared to iterative model. So every model has its own specific step that has to be executed in a defined sequence. So you cannot go when the sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, you cannot go 4, 3, 2, 1. That's what it means. You have a defined sequence. And so that we ensure the quality goals have been met. In software testing life cycle process, each activity is carried out in a planned and systematic way. Each phase has its different goals and deliverables. So every phase that we are going to see in software testing life cycle has different goals and deliverables. Say example, for one phase, we have the goal that is there for this phase is different from this phase, right? So going back to the definition, software testing life cycle refers to a testing process which has specific steps to be executed in a defined sequence to ensure that the quality goals have been met. So we have a set of sequence, and each specific phase that we are in, we have to go phase by phase. Each specific phase has a separate goal and a separate deliverable. So now we are going to see in detail what are the different phases and what are the goals for each and every phase. Now, software development life cycle. The next part that we are seeing is software development life cycle. Software development lifecycle is essentially a series of steps or phases that provides a model of development and lifecycle management of the application. So this is basically the lifecycle management of the application. This is the key here. Software development lifecycle is the development or the life cycle management of an application. So from the start, that is the first phase that we do is requirement gathering. From requirement gathering till we go into production, that is called the life cycle of the application. Software development life cycle is used to manage this life cycle. Now you will be thinking, how can a process manage a life cycle? When we are going to see the next slide, you will understand that depending upon the software development life cycle, you will see how the application is designed and delivered. Okay. Say example, this has been, who can align this for me? Who can align this for me? Anyone? Give me which should be 1, 2, 3, and 4.
First should be the gather as much information as possible about the detailed specification of the desired software from the client.
Perfect. Hold on. Let's see others.
Plan the programming language like Java, .NET, PHP.
Thank you.
Actually code the software.
Fine. Thank you.
That the build is as per specification given by the client.
Great. And right. So let's see how does this go, right? The first one, what we are seeing here is gather as much information as possible. So even when you are starting your testing, they tell you have to test a specific functionality. So you should understand the functionality as much as possible before you start testing. As soon as they say start testing, you're not going to start testing. You should know what you are testing. So gather as much information as possible about the details and specification of the desired software from the client. So you have to get as much information as possible. Now, what is this phase called? This phase is called requirement gathering or requirement. I just wrote it as requirement, but this phase is actually called requirement gathering. So in requirement gathering, where we will understand what are the specific information of each and every software or each and every system that we are going to test or the functionality that we are going to test, we will understand in detail before we start our testing. So this phase is called requirement gathering. The next what you are going to do is, next is plan the programming language. Now this is again based on the development, right? Since we are in software development life cycle. Now if it's a software test life cycle, what would you do here? You will be starting your, you'll start writing your test plan, test case, everything will be started here. While the programmer will plan what language he has to use, what database he has to use, everything that will be planned here. What is this phase called? This phase is called the design phase. So design phase for us as a tester, we will be writing our test strategy, test plan, test cases. Right? So this is how we start working. So most probably we will not write our test cases here. This is the place where we will write our test plan and test strategy. Next what the development life cycle says is actually code the software. So now here is where the developer will start working on the code. He will start physically writing the code. This phase is called the build phase. Now here you will be writing your test cases. You will start writing your test cases here. Now once you finish your test cases, the next phase is test the software to verify that the build is as per the specification of the specification given by the client. What am I reading? So here you are not going to sit and write test cases at this point. At this point here you are going to test the software. So at this point you will do your execution. you will do your execution here. So based on the life cycle, you'll start with requirement gathering, you'll move into design, build, and then you will start your testing. There is one more phase after this called the maintenance phase. This is nothing related to us. Here, there will be a set of developers, right, who will sit as production support. Hope you'd have heard about this. Okay, they are called production support, where whenever you as a customer will call up and inform some issue, these people will try to fix the issue, right? And then it will come back to you for testing. Here we are going to do retesting. Here what we will do, we do retest here. So this is the entire flow of what a development life cycle would do, as well as a software life cycle would do. Now this is the same, even though it is a development life cycle, you will also follow the same phases. These are the different phases, right? Now here you might have this phase, you might not have this phase. So when someone asks you what is the life cycle, what is the software test life cycle, you will say we will start with requirement gathering, where we will gather as much information as possible about the functionality that we are going to test. And then we will, once the requirement gathering phase is completed, we will start with a test strategy and test plan. We will send the test plan for sign off. The test plan is completed. We will start with the build phase, where we will start writing our test cases. Once the test cases are completed, we will go into the test phase, where we will do our execution. That's how you will be talking about when they talk about software test life cycle. This is the same for the application life cycle too. The same for the application life cycle. So that's why I said software development, software test life cycle is an integrated portion of your software development life cycle.